Hi everyone, I'm Jeff and this is my friend Mike, and together we're known as the Interview Guys. Now today we're enjoying one of our favorite pastimes, enjoying a cup of coffee and talking about job interviews.
Jeff, are you sure you didn't have one cup of coffee too many? You seem a little excited.
I am excited, Mike, but not because of the coffee, because a lot of people have been asking us to share our best interview tips, so today we put together a list of our top 5 favorites. If you can master these 5 tips, you'll be well on your way to getting a job offer from your next interview. Tip number 1 is that you really need to research the company and the position carefully. It's important to know exactly what they do, who their competitors are, and any current events related to the company. Now take some time to study their website, but make sure you also know the job description inside and out.
Our second tip is that you need to practice. In other words, it's important that you prepare perfect answers to some of the most commonly asked and toughest interview questions. How do you do that? Well, hang on to the end of the video and we'll show you exactly how.
Tip number 3 is that you need to prepare a few success stories that you can reference during the interview. What is a success story? A success story is a story from your past, work or personal life that highlights an achievement and reflects one of your strengths.
Now, tip number 4 is a very important one. You always need to prepare some questions to ask the interviewer. Why? Because it shows that you're prepared, knowledgeable, and enthusiastic about the job. Not to mention the fact that it'll allow you to learn as much as possible about the company and the position you're interviewing for.
So as we said earlier, our final tip is the most important tip on this list. Tip number 5 says that you need to tailor your entire interview to the company you are interviewing with. You see, most people walk into the interview room with nowhere near enough knowledge of exactly what the company or organization is looking for. You need to find out beforehand exactly what the position calls for in an employee, as well as exactly what makes up the company's perfect candidate. Once you have this information, you can position yourself as that perfect candidate by giving tailored interview answers. As we always say, it's not about you, it's about them.
Hello, my name is Alex.
Hi, I'm Gladys.
Thanks for coming in today. So I just wanted to go over a couple questions, kind of standard to, ask you for this position that we're inquiring about.
Okay.
So first off, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm 20. I currently go to UTRGV.
Okay.
I'm a junior, and my hope next year, well, I am, going to be applying to the nursing program. So that's my mission right now.
Okay, great. And then as far as any past jobs, do you have any experience anywhere else?
Yeah. So I was at EHA, Edinburgh Housing Authority, for about 5.5 years. From there, I did a lot of work moving around. So I started off as a tutor, then a receptionist, then I did media internship, and then I did scholarship intake, anything of that sort. Kind of educational was my sort of job.
Okay. I guess, was there any of those jobs where you had to be working with a team, and if so, how did you work with the team?
Okay. Yeah, for the media team, it was mainly me and my supervisor, so we basically had to work together simultaneously, working on different projects that my boss would tell us to do. Sometimes I had to work with people outside of our department, but usually it was teamwork.
Okay. Tell me about a time when you had too many things to do, and how did you prioritize your tasks?
Okay. So there was a time where we had to do a 5K, so a run walk scholarship run for funds, and that one took a lot of time because we had to contact the people, sponsors, we had to decide what day, the venue, who we were going to invite, the theme. So it was a lot of stuff to do in like 3 months. So we definitely had to focus on the aspect of raising money. So we focused on sponsors first. We worked on getting the venue ready, and lastly, we worked on the participants, like the racers, teams, calling backs to see if they wanted to join, so anything like that. So we prioritized depending on what we were wanting. So we wanted funds for the scholarship, so we focused on sponsors that would give us
Tell
those.
me about a time when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty. How did you handle the situation?
So there was a time where for the scholarship internships, scholarships and anything like that, I was the one in charge, and we would only be contacting the students like once they were seniors at the beginning of the year, and then if they didn't answer, we wouldn't contact them again. I didn't like the way they were doing it because we had funds, and then they could also, like, some people didn't answer because they didn't have a phone or they missed out on the opportunity of that. So I asked the boss if we can do it on a Saturday, and he said yes. So we went ahead and did like seminars on Saturdays for the seniors, and that continued until they graduated.
Tell me about a time when you worked effectively under pressure. Is there anything that you had to do specifically?
Okay, so the last of my years I had to do a scholarship banquet. So for all the seniors that graduated that year, we did a banquet for them. There was approximately like 20. So I was in charge of setting up the venue, getting the people there, making the invitations, sending them out, calling congressmen and stuff and people of the community to come and join us for the event. So that was really stressful for me because it was not something I was used to. I always had someone to work with, so that was definitely stressful for me, but it came out pretty good, I would say so myself. And I was constantly under pressure. My boss always asked me for updates, and sometimes I wouldn't have them and he'd get a little upset, but nothing to worry about. So it came out in the but
Great answer. Give me an example of a time when you had to show initiative.
So that would have to be when initiative. Let me think. Okay, so for the scholarships, we had to have them ask us. So usually, if they wanted scholarships that we provided, they would have to contact us to know that they're interested in them. And I didn't really like the way they were doing that because we had so much funds and they didn't, like the kids from the residents didn't want to take advantage of them, or they didn't know. So I asked my boss, what if we can get a Saturday, get them all here, maybe give them the information and pass it along. So he liked the idea. We did it a Saturday and it kept continuing until they graduated.
Great. Is there anything else you want to say about yourself or to know about you? It doesn't have to be work, it can be about yourself.
Sure. So my major is nursing, but as I mentioned before, I worked at an agency, so it had nothing to do with it. I'm willing to learn new things. I don't necessarily say, oh, I don't want to do this because it's not my major. I'm open to the possibility of learning anything I can. So I think I'm determined, and I can show it to you if you do hire me.
Great. Definitely something we will take into consideration. I do want to thank you for coming and meeting me first of all, and then we'll definitely be in touch. I have all your contact information, so we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.